All right, we are live. It's great to be here. Great to be here for another Pep Tuesday. Super excited about today's Pepakura. We've been at it quite recently with the Mark 7 Iron Man suit, really going through what it takes to make templates for an entire suit. And it's fun to just kind of break out and do a little fun thing. For those of you who are not super into it, Fortnite has just finished up its season 4 of chapter 2, which was a big Marvel integration. It was a lot of fun, and they've done lots of Marvel integrations in the past. And so, in honor of that, I have here a Thanos helmet here from Fortnite. And so we're going to be unfolding this tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to really try to dig into what will make this and what makes a lot of cartoon builds great for foam. So stick around. It's going to be a lot of good times. Good evening, Melvin. Glad to see you with us. So we're going to start as we always do by we've removed any possible unfolds. There's nothing over here on this side, so we're just over here in the 3D window. I'll move that all the way to the side. And now we can start working. This thing has a great texture file to it, but I can already see there are things about this that I will not want as a foam builder. Right off the bat, there's a lot of edge pieces that, of course, we're not going to be using. This face here, we won't make that out of foam. Foam just has thickness. But then, of course, there's also, this isn't just a shell of a model. There's also, like, an interior face to all of this. So we'll need to get rid of all that and tidy it up, too. So to that end, here's my plan. We're going to go to the 3D menu, edit mode, specify cut line edges. What this allows us to do is before we click that unfold button up there to sort of turn all the faces into a flat pattern, we are going to go ahead and just generally identify for the program where we want the larger shapes to be. And it'll try to honor that as best it can. It's a computer, but it's pretty smart. You know, this is Pep Designer 4 I'm working on, 4 point something or other. I don't update it as regularly as I should. And it is quite smart. The folks over at Tomasoft have done a really good job making a very quality piece of software. So they have a free version, and then there's a paid key you can get to do a lot of extra stuff in it, and it's a one-time fee. You know, it's not like Adobe where you gotta go in and every month it's something. No, this is a really square program, and it's good forever. Oh, here's an interesting side note. You can see as I zoom in, there's actually a little face right here. You're gonna want to make sure that you separate that there, because any faces you don't separate, Pepakura is going to try its very best to be able to keep them together, and that can really throw off your initial unfolds. It can be a real headache. All right, let's see here. I am thinking I'm going to separate there, and then I'm also going to get rid of that. Because, no, you know what? No, that doesn't make sense. I'm going to do that. Here we go. And let's separate this here. Up. And then there's sort of an implied edge right here, as though this could be raised. And I think what I'll do is I'll keep this one piece, but I'll leave that line in here by the time we're done. Because that way we can essentially layer it, cut it apart after doing the big piece, and then just layer on the next piece. And that'll be an extremely easy way to get a lot of detail. Well, it's also going to leave us with a lot more structural integrity, which sometimes, you know, it's foam. Sometimes it can get to a place where it feels like it's a little too flimsy. But I love the flexibility of foam. Honestly, it's one of the things I love about working with it. I recently, I finished this Star-Lord mask. I was so happy with it. But one of the things I love about it versus my old one is getting to actually kind of squish it and feel like it's got good give. It's not going to crack. It's great. Love it when stuff like that works out. Okay, let's see here. We'll keep going here. I'm going to kind of try to work up the side, not wrap around here. So let's go ahead. Looks like we got one pretty big piece up here. It does, it does have kind of a ridge to it there. An argument could be made for separating this. So I'm going to separate it for now. And if I feel like it can go together pretty reasonably, once we hit the 2D, I'll just stick those pieces together. But for now, we're going to separate them out. Running around here, up this way. One of the things I love about Fortnite models especially, and the kinds of stuff I've seen people be able to do with them, they don't crap out at the tiny details. Like, you can see this does actually end in a very fine point. Even if some of the detail is sort of locked in the texture and not just the model, it's worth noting that they aren't cheap models. It's not bad. It's really, really good. The folks over at Epic Games really know what they're doing in terms of design like this. It's stellar work. All right, I am actually going to leave that edge in there and just run around that edge like this. This way, I've got sort of a flap to lay that on. There we go. Yeah, I had somebody critique my work recently by saying that essentially oh, this is a little high. Let's try. Doop. Sorry, sometimes my camera setup gets a little hinky. I had somebody critique my work recently by basically saying that sometimes it's very difficult to understand whether or not something is meant to be an undercut, a detail line, or something else entirely. And I understand that. I do on some level. I think it's also worth noting that these templates are sort of meant to exist not as PDFs. One of the things I love about Pepakura is that you're supposed to be able to click back and forth between the 2D and the 3D so that you get the complete picture. Plus, it's worth noting that some of these decisions could be made two different ways. Like, oh, come on. Hang on. I had to zoom way in for that. Did not appreciate. Okay. Like, for instance, I could just layer these pieces onto this piece here, but I could also do an undercut here and meet them edge to edge. And both would be appropriate in terms of the shape you're trying to achieve. And that's fine. That's a good thing. And you, the maker, have the power to decide that. For my building style, I tend to kind of go one way and not the other. And that's why I add the detail in. But you can always decide to build it and actually get it together in a different way. There we go. It's also worth noting that there is some onus on the prop maker, always, to make sure that a template is going to be what you think it is. To wit, I've had people come to me and say, your templates are bad because it did not fit me. And I have to say, well, is your head 23.5 inches? And they'll be like, no. And I'll be like, then perhaps, you should have scaled it differently, given that this is all for my head. I think I might start throwing the exact measurements of my head in the comments or the description of my videos, so that anybody who's trying to rescale for their head has the heads up on that. But it's worth noting that you do need to take just a little time to make sure that things are going to fit you properly. Hey, Pandulce, really, really glad to see you here. I know you were super excited for this one, and I'm trying to get my hands on some more of Fortnite Thanos. I think it's a really great design, honestly. Worth a little bit more of our time, for sure. I've been really, really happy doing a lot of these Fortnite builds. I don't know how it happened exactly, but I kind of wound up being known for the Fortnite builds more than some of my other builds, which for me is crazy because I only just recently got into Fortnite. I'm a fake gamer guy. I'm a terribly fake gamer guy. That's just it's true. I'm not gonna lie. So for me, it's actually really funny that that I've sort of become known for some of the builds that I'm doing in Fortnite. It's crazy. I think my most viewed on the channel, other than okay, so I used to do really low budget videos back in high school before like streaming was really a thing, before lots of things, before we thought the world was gonna, you know, light on fire or whatever. And I do have one video from that era where I got like 2,000 views on it, and it is still technically my most viewed video ever, even though nobody can find it. You cannot find it. But you know, other than that, it's Doom and the Fade Mask and Daredevil, and that's really exciting for me. It's pushed me to develop some really fun skills that I didn't realize I was lacking. I think that's really just a fun thing to have for yourself, is a new skill set in that way. Now, I'm seeing some things here that I don't know if I need. I'm seeing like the underside of this edge. I think that's going to be super unnecessary for us. So to that end, I'm going to find where it meets the underside here. We're just going to run around it and separate it because we don't want it. We don't need it. Why don't we need this underside piece? Well, because the foam already has an underside. So why would we make a separate piece that already exists on our build because we're using foam? You know, I don't know if they're still having that sale, but it is worth noting that some very high quality prop shops and makers are having some really great cyber sales right now. Hell, I'm having a cyber sale over on my Etsy. If you like any of these templates, I do have paid templates. I do have full builds of mine that you can buy, should you be interested. So feel free to check that out. But even bigger makers like SKS Props have Cyber Week sales with like Dick Blick art materials. They got sales on their really nice foam. So if you're in the market, if you need it, you should be checking this stuff out, guys. This stuff doesn't go bad. It doesn't go bad. It's not like buying a really nice can of paint that's gonna go bad eventually. This is foam's shelf stable, guys. Foam's gonna be here after the bombs drop. There's gonna be cosplayers in the apocalypse trying really hard. I just know it. Oh gosh, this is a really fun build. I am loving this. Oh, this is a really fun thing to note that just happened here that I'm not sure exactly when it happened, but at some point I accidentally double clicked and I ran a really fun line up and around that, and that's not what I meant to do. There we go. Yeah, if you double click, it'll just do its best to sort of follow the contours of the piece, avoiding really harsh lines. But we don't really need to do that right now. We're actually sort of picking out exactly what we're looking for. I'm torn. I think I do want to keep separating out that thickness of it there. The hashtag thickness. There we go. 1 second. I thought I heard the old man say, "Leave her, Johnny, leave her for tomorrow. It's a long haul to your next payday, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. The wind was foul and the sea ran high. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. She shipped it green and none went by, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow. Hey, yeah. Glad to see you're with us. We're doing some fun stuff right now. We're doing some Fortnite, but a lot of the skills very transferable. There's a lot of really good stuff that comes from really unfolding any helmet. It's a learning process, but you know, there's similar things here. Like if I were to point out similar features to an Iron Man helmet, I know it's kind of out there, but there's a cranial ridge that's pretty well defined. I've got eye shapes that are going to need to be sort of separated out, and cheek details that are going to need to be etched in and or layered, and that's kind of the way these things become educational lessons, not just for this one thing and doing this one thing, but also for doing, you know, anything. And I found along the way that I wasn't just making a Captain America helmet. I was making everything. Costuming is great like that. Costuming is great because, and cosplay in general, because if you learn your fundamentals and you learn them well, you're going to wind up with a skill set that's extremely transferable to other things. Ugh, here we go. All right, now we're seeing some real progress. We're going to be able to jump over to the 2D pretty soon. I have a habit of sort of picking up a lot of steam about halfway through a project as I stop figuring things out and start just repeating actions that I've done at different parts of the build. All right, here we go. So we don't need that. We do need this. Come on. Oh, all the money that e'er I've had, I spent it in good company, and all the harm that e'er I've done, it was alas to none but me. And all I've done for want of wit to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be to you all. Oh, all the comrades that e'er I've had, they're sorry for my going away, and all the sweethearts that e'er I've had would wish me one more day to stay. But since it falls into my lot that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise and softly call, good night and joy be to you all. Good night and joy be to you all. Hey, I'm really glad to hear that helmet's turning out really good. I really do love getting to work with people and help them out with builds. I know I can't help everybody. I can't help all the time, but I do like to sort of be on hand for questions and just give people the nudge in the right direction. I think one of the things, I've talked about it before, one of the things I love about being a part of the prop making community is really getting to give back, because I've just encountered so many, and I mean this, so many super nice, super helpful people who are just the most humble and enthusiastic prop makers. Just absolute enthusiasts who have nothing in their heart but love for the act of making things. And that's super special. I don't find that in a lot of places. I think one of the only other communities I've genuinely felt that much just general love is the Barbershop Harmony Society, because they're just super enthusiastic people, and I think they really embody the spirit. The community as a whole just really embodies the spirit of like the word amateur, which is like to do it for the love of something, not just because you want to be the best or because you want to get super good, but because it's the thing itself is good. The act of doing and getting to help out in the community and just sort of be a part of it is really good, and I love that. I'm glad that your build is going well. Didn't mean to gush there. Here we go. There we go. That's more what I want. Get rid of that. Add that in there. Weirdly, I'm not seeing a bunch of edges that we're going to want to physically alter in the model. This is a pretty clean model. It's a pretty well-designed model. I don't think we're going to need to smooth out any of these edges unduly. I think we may... I'm not totally certain what to do here. Ooh, that's kind of complicated. I think I might actually separate that there. Separate that here. Yeah, some of the way these spikes meet the back of the helmet is actually they're actually kind of messing me up here. Let's see. Okay. I'm gonna keep this connected here, and this connected here. Yep. That's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna start with it like that and see if we can simplify more. There we go. Ha 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 ha. That's perfect. Ooh, that's perfect. That's less perfect, but that's okay. Not as concerned about the inside of this thing. Okay, and then we're gonna do just even this out on top. We are just about ready to start manipulating the 2D templates. I'm only about 20 minutes into this build, which is great. That's going to make this it's going to give us a lot more time to manipulate these templates properly and make sure that everything is fitting the way we want it to. This is really the first step, I feel, on the journey that is proper planning to make sure a build goes very well. So that you're not just constantly flying by the seat of your pants. Not that it isn't fun, just that, you tend to get better results if you knew where you were starting and then you knew where you were going. That's real, man. Oop, tiny little one there. Right across here. Yep. All right. I know that there's still some stuff that's a little undecided, shall we say. But I am just going to go ahead and start unfolding this thing. So, just see if there's any glaringly obvious errors like that. Like that. All the years and years of pouring through bins of Legos has prepared me for this particular kind of work. So, I'm gonna tidy up the inside real quick. I think just split it up, down like that. Oh, you know what I actually should do before I unfold this? I should actually run around the edges of this so that they don't get bound up on the inside funny. I'm going to go around just like this. Just around the edges to be sure. Oh, wow, that was super effective. Holy cats. Okay. All right, that works. Huh. There's a separate angle there that's not there on the other side. That's not perfectly symmetrical for some reason. Here, I'm actually going to get a chance to edit this model. Edit model. It's this one right here. Split quad. Right there. Sweet. Okay, well, that lets us just do that at least. Okay, okay. That's fine, that's fine. Yep. Kind of expected that. Whoa, no, no, no. That, no. Okay. All right, we're going to call that good. Cool. Unfolding this, 13 inches. Oh, I suppose. Oh, I suppose. Let's see. I want to make, yeah, no, because it comes like down to the chin, and then you need big chins. So let's call it 13 even. We're not going to avoid page borders because some of these pieces will be bigger than a page, or at least longer. Perhaps not altogether larger than a page of paper. So here's the first thing we're going to do. We're going to reset our model view so it's nice and center. And then we can say, okay, so this has added flaps to this, which is not important to us. We don't need flaps because these are elements of paper building. So we're going to get rid of the flaps. We're going to go to 2D menu, 2D menu, unclick show flaps because we don't need it. Now this is already looking pretty clean. There's a lot going on down here. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. But let's start just on one side. Start working our way around here. So I've got this piece here. It's already looking pretty clean. All I'm really going to do is go in here and tidy up the direction of some of these darts. In order to stick lines together, we have to separate them first because you can't stick all these lines together. If I just try to stick these together, even though this is together here, it's going to start doing weird things. So you got to separate like that. I'll kind of even that out there, even that out here. And I'm pretty okay with that there. I'll probably even this out to the inside. Yep. Awesome. And look at that. I try, if I can avoid it, I try not to have more than two faces in any one specific direction because I think that really helps limit weirdness in our shapes between the 2D and 3D. All right, so we'll just kind of do what we did here, just sort of work our way up the side of the helmet. All right, flip that around here. Yep. Okay, so this has done a pretty good job of sort of separating it into the shapes I told it to. We're now going to force it more into the shapes that we want. There we go. Note that that means leaving a little extra space on the outside and cutting a little off the inside, but those loss gains are pretty negligible on the whole. There we go, and then we got this piece, and this was one of those pieces that we said, if we can, we might try to stick to this piece, depending on how separated these curves are. You know, it's a pretty complex curve. I kind of want to leave it as two parts. Even though I know that I could probably pull it off with a lot of heat forming and, say, an undercut, I think it will just be easier to cut these as two pieces and glue them together. To that end, do that. I'm also going to push these darts in this direction because they will more or less line up with the darts on this piece. Ta-da! There we go. Look at that. We're already well on our way here. Wait, hang on. What's going on here? That goes here. There we go. Yeah, now you're seeing it. Now you're seeing it. Let's see here. Okay. This is like a very long edge piece that I've sort of got hanging out over here. We'll get rid of that for now. We might come back to it. This is sort of going underneath and around this piece, which is actually very convenient because that's a great way to sort of register how the pieces fit together. Here we go. You've either got or you haven't got style. If you got it, you stand out a mile. A flower's not a flower if it's wilted. A hat's not a hat till it's tilted. You've either got or you haven't got class. How it draws the applause of the masses when you wear lapels with the swellest of swells. You can pass any mirror and smile. You've either got or you haven't got. Got or you haven't got. Got or you haven't got style. Oh, there we go. Here's another large piece. So this is going to be kind of the center of the head, and it's going to be bound together with these two pieces that are under it. So this is going to be kind of a funky piece, huh? There we go. I think that might be the most we can sort of separate this out. We're going to have to do something kind of funky here, which is to sort of follow the darts back and forth up the center to try and keep this thing as straight as we can. There we go. And we can always check this when we're done by trying to essentially line it up as a straight line all the way back. Now, is that gonna... Actually don't like that. I don't like the way that this meets that. I kind of want to get rid of that. Yep, that's the right call. But it should actually be addended to this edge. Haha! There is a brotherhood of man, a benevolent brotherhood. Whoops. Of man, a noble tie that binds all human hearts and minds into one brotherhood of man. Oh yes, your lifelong what the heck? There we go. Your lifelong membership is free. Keep giving each brother all you can. Oh, aren't you proud to be in that fraternity? One great big brotherhood of man. Why am I changing the joint position? Now, I think this is an interesting question. Can you specify which piece in particular you're referring to? I'm actually just going to take a... Oh, whoops. I'm just going to take a quick moment while I do... Oh, hello. I'm just going to take a quick moment while I do to line this up top to bottom and see if this is pretty straight. It's honestly pretty good. I think that's about as good as we're going to get. Yeah, I feel pretty good about that. And now when this sort of sticks together, ooh, I'm gonna move that there. Here. So when I sort of wrap this around it, it's the way it bends away from itself will actually wind up lining up again, which is great. Let's grab this piece next. This piece we are going to add the sort of thin edge around it, because again, that'll act as sort of a flap for us to put everything together. And the reason I sort of change the way these sit together is because, yes, it's going to intersect no matter what I do, but I can make it intersect in more, shall we say, functional and meaningful ways. So like, yes, if I just went to 2D menu and joined the adjacent edges right now, this would join to that, but you see how that line's all kind of funky there, and how this has gotten really thin right here. What I'd rather do is make sure that all of these are giving as much space to the overall piece, sort of getting out of their own way, because then I can use the power that is Pepakura to, we're gonna, is that good? I think that's backwards from the way I want it. I want it like this. Actually, I think I weirdly want it like this. Yeah. Weirdly. Okay. So I kind of want to go to 2D menu now, and I'll just show you. See how much more clean, how much cleaner this piece is compared to what we had. This is way better. You know what? No, I'm just going to keep it that way. This is going to be better. There we go. And this will fit sort of under right here. Doop. And just like that, we've got about one side of the helmet done. I'm going to call that done. We could probably take this part of it, though. Probably dig this part and add it to this right here. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. And the reason we do this again is just to have a very nice flap for us to connect to. Ooh, I think that depends on how it meets this piece, though. Oh, yeah, no, that's not going to be good. We're going to undo what we just did. Control Z. Control Z is our friend. We don't want that. We don't need that. We can just join that as an edge. That's fine. Sweet. Here we go. There's that. Looking pretty. This piece, I'm guessing, is probably almost done all by itself. I was right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't fully understand what you mean by what you're asking about changing the joint position there. It just I don't exactly know what you're saying. All I'm trying to say is that I'm moving these parts around, joining and disjoining the faces. Control N, or if you want to go to the 2D menu, go to Edit Mode, Join and Disjoin Face, and I can move around. I could even go so far as to just remove all of this entirely right there. But I don't need to. I can just keep it joined together there. And I'm just going to keep sort of walking up this piece here. Walking up the back. Evening out these darts as I go. So they're nice and pretty. I like pretty darts. There we go. Yep, there we go. Because the next piece up comes in like this. And for this, we're actually doing a lot of flaps sort of all the way up here, so that all of these things can reasonably layer on top of one another without us having to just go in and manually draw in a lot of lines. A lot of lines that would be, frankly, very confusing and hard to keep track of, especially for a build guide. Build guide should be easy. I shouldn't have to say, oh, cut out these templates and then immediately make a ton of modifications to them. Just make sure this is actually... Yep, that looks sort of kind of like what I want. It's kind of a lot going on up there. Honestly, I'd almost just I'd almost just cut this off where it starts to become like a shadow. I might do that for now. Because look at that. You can't even see under there. Yeah, no, that's unnecessarily confusing. Okay, so here's the mid piece. I think we can actually do this. We might be able to do this in one piece. That would be a real victory if we could get this down to one piece. I think worst comes to worst, I split it in the middle and create a very nice rounded seam there. But if we could avoid it entirely, that would be spicy. It would be spicy. What's going on here? Okay. I'm going to start evening it out, making sure these darts are the same on both sides. When I say a dart, I mean a cut. Let me see. In a particular piece, is it necessary to change the joint position of face from horizontal to vertical and vertical to horizontal? Okay, I think I see what you're saying. So, like, why am I joining it this way and not, say, this way? The answer is, honestly, it's a very case-by-case thing. In this particular instance, I am going top to bottom because I want this line to be very clean and line up with all of these pieces. For some builds, it's more important that your vertical lines are one way. Excuse me. It's for some builds, it's more important that all of your edges line up vertically versus horizontally. For instance, what's a really good example here? So again, bringing out Star-Lord again. Build guide out now. Free templates. For instance, there's this line that connects right here. So I wouldn't want a bunch of lines going this way because I need this line to be as unbroken as possible to make sure these two pieces line up. I would want darts that go this way, or even better, only go off the edge of the piece where they don't have to connect anything. Because anywhere you have a dart, it'll either space it a little bigger or a little smaller, and it'll change the fit between two pieces. So we try to minimize them, and we try to run them to places that they don't affect other pieces. And I know that is kind of a big brain concept. It's kind of a lot to think about when you're going back and forth on this journey of like 2D versus 3D versus 2D versus 3D. But it's an important thought to at least have in your mind while you're working on these things. I might just make this its own separate piece here. This is actually the kind of thing that would make a really good piece just all on its own here. Does this connect anything? Not meaningfully. That's okay. So that was kind of a big concept to lay down, because this edge right here is kind of wide. So I'm going to close it up just a bit right there because this sort of bows back in here. But if I try to do this all along the sideline, you'll note that there's fewer edges, so it all becomes very wide on the side, and that's going to be bad. We want something more. I could probably do one to the side like that, and in that way, I don't wind up with quite as many vertical lines that are very, very wide. But this is also okay. Ooh, that's interesting. There's an extra face here that's not in the normal on the other side. That's almost imperceptible, but that's okay. Here we go. So that's the back. It's one side of the back. I think we've got... Oh, nope. I've got to do this piece. Okay, so this piece is going to need not only to be tidied up. You can see, like, it's one really long... It's one really long line here, but if I do two shorter ones the other direction, this piece makes a lot more sense and it looks a lot cleaner. I am going to also just go like this. Oh, I can actually tidy that up even more by sort of going between the two there. Yeah, that's great. And again, this is basically just a flap to layer that piece onto this piece over top. And with that, I think we've got almost one entire side. I'm missing this piece, which I don't know if I can stick onto the... I can't. That's not going to work. But I bet, you know, I might just commit to this piece going across the top like that. It's going to be several undercuts, but it's ultimately going to be a much nicer piece to cut out. Yeah, that'll be a lot easier. See, this is why it's important to get to the 2D menu, because the 2D menu is going to sort of change your initial perceptions. Like, I thought I was going to need to fight some of these edges a lot more than I really am. This is not as important. Oops. If you press B, it brings up a grid. I don't find the grid very useful. But it's there if you're really into it. Okay, yep. I would like to do that. Haha. I'm just going to even this out because we don't need these edge pieces, but we can make them look nice in the 3D window by just ever so gently smoothing them out. Because when we get near the end here, I'll show you there's a big step that really cleans everything up, and it's going to make life a lot easier. There we go. There, that's actually most of the edges of the piece that we don't need because the foam is quite thick, so we don't need to add a fake thickness to it. These two appear to be the insides of the helmet. So if you wanted to say line the helmet, you could use these as a guide for that. I really don't want to do that though. That sounds like not the thing that would be very interesting. It's kind of like doing a Toy Story cosplay and writing Woody, or not Woody, Andy on the bottom of your boot. You can do it. It is a fun detail. Are you going to be able to show that to most people, and or is it going to wear out immediately or be just a huge hassle to show off? You know, there's practicality in a lot of these things. I don't know. I've been really enamored recently with The Mandalorian because I am working on The Mandalorian, a lot of that stuff. And one of the things I've loved recently is because it's a very popular costume, and that's awesome. I love when there's a lot of a costume because it means there's a lot of good resources. There's a lot of very supportive people, and it's going to be a lot of fun because you're going to run into other people and have a lot of fun, you know, hanging out with the Mandalorian. But one thing I do find funny about the prop making community is that sometimes it'll turn into sort of a contest to see who has like the most obtuse or obscure accessory. Like, I know somebody's making resin blue macaroons now, and I won't explain why because everybody who knows already knows, and that's fine. But it's so silly to me that's the thing that's going to make your cosplay like the best or the better one. I don't quite get that. Oh man, here we go. Just evening this out, not taking too much time on this, frankly. Yep, that's gonna go here. There we go. Here's the other thing, guys. It's worth noting that I'm kind of flying through this, and if you're sort of just tip-tapping through your own builds and it's not a million miles an hour or instantly coming together, that's also okay. I have been doing this in particular for a very long time now, like several years. So it's worth noting that's a normal that's a normal amount of time to get this acquainted with a program like this. But that doesn't mean that you can't dive in right now, enjoy yourself. It's free program. It's free from Thomasoft. You can find. I have a link to their website down in the description of these videos, and so like just try it out for yourself. Try it out. I might. Yeah, I'm going to separate this into sort of the top and the bottom. Just like this. Because then it's sort of a web down. Ooh, I like that. That's kind of fun. If you wanted to like pad the inside of your helmet like this, that would actually be a very effective template for that. I'll keep it in the model. I'll keep it in the file. Okay, so now all we're going to do is quick rush to do the other side the exact same way we did this side, which should not take very long at all. There will be less commentary because I'm basically just doing the same thing again. Here we go, running up the side, just making it even with what I did on the other side. Okay. This one seems to be slightly different than the other one. I wonder why. Here we go. Just gonna run this up there. That's great. Thanks to everybody who's sticking around. This has been a really fun build, and we are gonna put the templates for free down below just as soon as we hop off, because this has been a joy, and I really hope to see some people just sort of sharing in the Fortnite Marvel love. It's been a lot of really good content from those guys. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's the piece over here. And this is what I say when I mean these templates are really designed for you to be able to sort of click and go, oh, that piece goes here, that piece goes there. This sort of folds up like that. It makes your life a lot easier when you can do that rather than just trying to decipher two-dimensional templates. Even if they do have lots of labels that say this is this part, here is how these pieces go together, you're going to have a lot better of a time by getting to just click on the piece and go, oh, that goes right there. No wonder. How could I have been so blind? Go. Again, just following my work on the other side. Smoothing this out along here. One moment. All right. Let's see where we're going next. We're going right here. See, I've got one dart going the other direction. Just 'cause, I guess. That's okay. This one, all we're gonna do is point these inward, just like we did on the other one, so that they sort of match up. There we go. This should be just the same piece, but on the other side. Oops. we go. All right, we are almost done. Check that out. All right. For those of you just joining us, we are neck deep in unfolding the Thanos Fortnite helmet. You can see I'm working on this piece right there and sort of working my way down the sides and the back because we are almost done. Just evening out our work from the other side. There we go. Oh, I'm going to even that out there. Sweet. Okay, so what in here is still not accounted for? So we've got these pieces here, which actually could line up with this, I think. Yep, without ruining the shapes that we've got everywhere else, we can just add this there, and that makes that a little more complete. This is just the underside. This is something that I would never put in the actual build because the foam has its own thickness, so why would I do that? All right, what's going on over here? I feel like, yeah, I was going to say those are probably the under piece here, which we're just not going to use. And this, oh, this is the other piece right there. I actually do need to unfold that. This is just about done, though. Arguably better than the other one. It was like a little more put together. Pep did a better job on this one. Did a better job. Okay. And then this, and these guys. What are these guys? They go up and underneath this piece. I'm weirdly having a tough time fully deciphering the way this lines up. I'm just gonna do it like this. Cause like it's all wrapped up in there and it's not very useful. Okay, that connects to there. And then those are just kind of useless. Okay, there we go. That's all edge. Sweet. So now I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to do a quick test run of this, and then I'm going to explain what I did. Okay, yeah, I didn't think that was going to work super well. There we go. Make sure nothing else is doing something weird. I'm not seeing anything weird. Oh, I'm seeing something weird right there. Because I guess that connects directly. So, let's do this. There we go. Sorry, I was just joining and unjoining the edges to make sure I didn't forget any significant stuff. And I did leave some minor stuff. Okay, so now when I go 2D menu, join adjacent edges, I can tell it to ignore a certain tolerance of these darts, which are all very small, which means that when I do this, it sort of combines all the parts together. Now, I'm noticing this piece isn't joining as well as I'd hoped it would. Let's see if I switch that, if it becomes a little nicer. Because sometimes the algorithms... Oh, that's way better. There we go. Awesome! Look at that. So... and I separated these because it was trying to join two edges that I personally felt needed to stay open in order for this to be a viable piece. So, get rid of this. So all of this over here, unclick cut line edges. Sorry, this is the line color tool where you can manually edit the colors of lines and or hide them. And so I unclick cut line because I don't want to erase the lines that would be used to cut this out, but I do want to erase all those weird fold lines because we don't need them. These things are all small enough that it's not a big deal. There we go. There, the edges are already looking very clean. This doesn't need any lines in it because it just doesn't. I'll set that aside because we might keep it. And then we're basically just going to get rid of any line that's not an undercut or a detail of some kind. So these are all flaps, so we can just keep the lines that show where the flaps are. That is just a piece. This is a piece with a flap on the bottom. Just on the bottom, though. Flap, 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 flap. Flap, flap, flap. I was weirdly just word association there. I thought I was going to try to make a Flappy Bird joke, and then I realized that, you know, that game's like a decade old. There we go. Again, keeping just the lines that show where the flaps are. Now, this is a little different because there is some detail in here, but it's all in the texture, so I think you're just kind of SOL unless you want to print the texture. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. This does have not detail lines, but some undercuts because this is a pretty complex shape. So you can kind of see the way those cuts come together to fit together there. This is just the same thing, but on another side. We'll do the same thing, but on another side. It's 8 o'clock now, but we're just going to wrap up because we've almost hidden all the lines we need to for this, which is great, honestly. There we go. So that's all just sort of one piece. Great. Here's the next one. Same thing, the other side. These pieces across, the edges here don't need any because we didn't leave an undercut. We just glued them together. Same's true of these. This does weirdly actually have the line that you would need to add to this thing in order to do the raised detail cut. So we're just going to leave that line in. As you can see, it also sort of follows where the edge is, which is perfect. That's all you need. There we go. Look at that. Again, there's the piece. This is the flap. Oops. Control Z, undo, and we're just going to go up and around. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Okay, this is the piece right at the top here. This has a flap on both sides, I think. Yes, yes, yes. Right there, right here. Up and across, down and across, up and across. Perfect. Here's the center. This has a flap running along either edge of it. Let's see how does that fit together? Is that the front or the back? Oh, I'm so confused. Oh, this is the back. This is the back. I'm right here. Sweet. Yep, just like that. And then this doesn't need any flap or edge along pretty much the entirety of this. This is all going to be fairly round right here. So we don't need to leave any detail line or any etch or any kind of undercut or flap there. This is actually the top of the crown. All right, this piece has a flap running all the way around it. with a line down the center of it at the back here. Here we go. Got to get all the way down in there to make sure you don't miss any spots. I think this might be the last piece. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, here we go. Okay. And with that, we're going to say 3D menu, reset the model view to see which side is facing us. And we're going to grab all of our parts and we're going to unclick, control, unclick all the pieces from one side because we only need one side of the templates. So we unclick one side like this. I think that's it. I think that's all we need. Yep. Oh, and I'll leave this in. And then the rest of it, we go control, and we can just drag them way away because we don't need them. And we'll just move these up here. I'm going to make sure that in the print and paper settings, we're going to go letter because I work in letter because I'm a filthy American. We're going to go here, and I'll set this off in its own world because it is not important to the rest of the build. And then we're just going to sort of optimize on these pages to make sure that everything can fit in a way that is both easy to understand, but also saves at least some paper. You know, there is a goal to save at least a little bit of the paper. But that's really it. I think that's where we're going to end this live stream. I will have these templates up very shortly. I want to give a huge shout out to my patrons. If you like these patterns, if you like what I do, you can get a lot of these patterns in advance, as well as you can help support the channel. Check us out over on Patreon. I got 4 patrons right now: Jennifer, Penn, Dulce, K-Snake, and Austin of AJ Plays Piano. Absolutely adore you guys. Hope to see some more of you over there soon. Hoping to do a big giveaway soon. We've almost hit 500 subscribers. When we do, we're gonna do a big giveaway. I think I'm probably gonna give away some pretty special. Because we're like halfway to being able to monetize, which is crazy. It's crazy that this is a thing. And I'm just so grateful that you're all here. For now, I've been Jaden, here for Foam Armory. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been a lot of fun. Take care.